Every single human being born on earth,
including the shy human being,
every human being born on earth was born for leadership. As a matter of fact, the moment the semen meets the egg in your mother's womb, that is leadership.
Wow.
Leadership is embedded in the conception of life. So most of the time when people ask me the question, are leaders born or made? It is both. You were born with the leadership gift, but the problem is you have to cultivate that gift and serve it to the world, because it's a gift.
Which of those make the better leader, though? The naturally born one, the one who is...
Everybody is naturally born.
Of being a leader here.
Everybody is naturally born. All you have to do is identify the leadership gift you were born with, cultivate that and serve it to the world. Nobody has more gifts than the other.
Oh, wow, okay.
It is because of the misconception we have about leadership, because we were made to believe that leadership is about charisma. So anytime we talk about leadership, we're looking for somebody who has charisma.
We'll come to what that leadership is about charisma, really.
Okay.
But yes, people, we started talking here on the show. This conversation is about leadership. Went on the streets to find out what people think about leadership, or even who a leader is on the streets of Accra. Take a watch, and we will come back.
A leader is not just someone who orders people around or gives instruction.
A leader is someone who has the potential or who is able to manage or control either few or many group of people.
Yeah, I think a leader is someone who people look up to, someone who people follow, someone who aspires people, like a mentor. You know, yeah, that's what I think a leader is.
A leader is someone who leads a group of people or take in charge of a team.
Some of the qualities of a leader is he has to be, I wouldn't say manipulative, but he needs to have some influence on some certain you know, group of people to be able to recruit to follow him. Yeah, that's what's, yeah.
When you're a leader, you guide a corporation toward a common goal, and when you're a leader, you're supposed to leave a mark or train other people, allow other people to take your position such that they too can lead other people into success. A leader is not snobbish, if that's the right word to use. A leader is open-minded but decisive. A leader is a visionary. Generally, a leader is someone who has integrity, who knows what is right and does not depart or stray away from that.
Somebody can be a leader, but he or she will not realize he is a leader. For example, Moses in the Bible, he was not having any power to control the Israelites, and God told him he has the power and he made him lead the people. Some leaders are so strong enough that they can mobilize people to conquer or to gain what they want.
The qualities of a leader, I think the fellow is supposed to be good to all his followership.
It's always amazing to, you know, go on the streets of Accra and get views from the people over there. But really interesting, Nana and Margaret, right? The people on the streets, by their definitions, they're on the right track when it comes to leadership. Can we say that?
To some extent, I would say yes, and I disagree with one gentleman who was saying to conquer something. You know, leadership is not about being negative. You have to do good things. You have to impart people. When you are a leader, you are born to serve. So service comes with humility. When you are humble and you are serving, other people learn from you. So leadership basically is about being humble, having some integrity, and protecting such integrity so that other people will follow and do the right thing in the society.
That brings me to, how do you combine being a charismatic leader and a humble one at the same time?
You see, charismatism is a trait of somebody's personality.
Okay.
It is not a gift. It is a trait of somebody's personality. Sometimes even the way you were brought up.
So is humility, right?
Charismatism would not necessarily be humility. Humility is different from charismatism.
But I mean, you said it's a trace of your personality.
Right.
And I'm asking, humility will be the same.
Right. Yep. But humility also got to be learned.
Okay.
It cannot just be a trait. It's got to be
But
learned.
charisma can be learned.
Charisma, it's hard to learn charisma.
It's either you have it or you don't.
Right.
Is there anything as a perfect leader?
A perfect in what
A
sense?
perfect leader in every sense of the word.
Without any flaws?
Without blemish?
No.
There's
You
none.
cannot have a perfect leader because we are human beings.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I always say that leaders dare, so they most of the time make mistakes.
So the great leaders in our lifetime and in the world are normally flawed in many regards, true or false.
Yeah, you got to have flaws as a human being. You're definitely going to have flaws. But that does not qualify your leadership abilities. Because leadership is a gift for service. So the moment you realize that it's a gift for service, then you have to now look for the principles of service. And I was happy when I heard somebody make mention of integrity, which is a principle of service. Integrity came from the word integration. So you integrate into something. So in other words, as a leader, one of your principles is a principle of integrity. It means one. We don't know you as somebody here and know you as somebody else somewhere. That is why sometimes it's amazing when you hear people say, this is my private life. You're invading my private life. I'm sorry. The moment you decide to serve your generation, there is nothing like you have a private life. So I live differently privately and live differently publicly. I should be able to vouch for your character. I should be able to say, that is not him.
Should a leader have an imposing personality?
No, you shouldn't. A leader should be himself or herself, because if you're a leader, you need to set for yourself a standard, and that standard you have to live by it. So you can't pose to be somebody else. You have to be you, and then once you are you, you do the right thing. Because you know, in personality or imposing to be someone, you try to copy that person, and in so doing you make mistakes. But when you are yourself and you do things naturally as God has embedded in you, you flow naturally. So a leader should do the right thing. Just be yourself and do the natural things that you are called to do as a leader.
It's aggression, radicalism mostly we see in many of the biggest and greatest leaders in the world. Is aggression and sometimes being radical important to push your leadership
You see,
forward?
those, like I said, those are personal traits. And first of all, let me backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Leadership has nothing to do with position. And that is the mistake we most of the time do. Leadership has nothing to do with position. As a matter of fact, leadership has everything to do with a gift. So we have a leader in the field of mechanics. So I think he's in the local parlance, we call them feeders.
Yeah.
He's a leader in that field.
Yeah.
Because he has a gift to fix your car. So the office has nothing to do with the gift. As a matter of fact, what makes the office meaningful is the gift. So most of the time, you hear people talk about leadership and they talk about office, position, power, which has nothing to do with leadership.
Without an office or power, how do I identify my leadership skills, or how do I become aware that I'm ready to take the next leap into leadership?
Most of the time, from some of the lectures I've been handling, like I tell the youth, you don't discard your desires, your passion. Those are gifts given to you. Just before we came to the studio, we were talking about leadership basically means you have a gift to solve a problem.
Okay.
We are born here to solve problems. So we were talking about people thinking of leadership or thinking of gifts and money. And I was saying, if you realize most of the people who've made money in this world made money because they were fulfilling their passion by solving problems. They did not make money because they were chasing money.
Okay.
You see, so when you realize a passion within you, I remember when I was growing up, I wanted to be a pilot.
Okay.
I was so fascinated about the airplane. But then as time went by, I realized I don't have what it takes to be a pilot. You know, but then there was an edge within me which I was trying to suppress, because sometimes we think some gifts are better than some gifts. But no gift is better than any other gift. And I keep telling people we have over 7 billion people in this world, but over 7 billion fingerprints. Why? Because your contribution is needed in the world. As a matter of fact, the world will never be the same with or without you. No human being born on earth has no value. The moment you were born, a gift is impacted in you. And the world is waiting for that gift to make the world a better place. As a matter of fact, we're having problems in the world because most people decide not to contribute to the development of the world. That is why we're having problems in the world. So, no gift is better than the other. So whatever gift you think or you believe you're passionate about, nurture it. Because like I was saying, I have the gift of speaking, I have the gift of making sure the right thing is done. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, I just could not stand people bullying other people.
Okay.
You know, so later on in life, when I was thinking about what I got to do with my life, I realized this was a gift I was trying to suppress, but it might be that which I was born to do. So let me go back to it. So in order for you to identify whatever you were born to do, sometimes I tell people, stop what you're doing. Stop. Sit down quietly. If possible, get into a closet and begin to think back into your youthful days. And in the process, you will come across a gift which you discarded. Or sometimes people around you would even help you kill that gift, because they're going to tell you either you're not ready for it, or you don't have the resources to develop that gift, or give me a break.
I'm delving into your book here on page 76. It says leadership is not rulership over people. Can you elaborate on that?
Thank you. That is another error which was impacted into us about leadership being rulership over people. Leadership has nothing to do with rulership over people. As a matter of fact, nobody was born on earth to rule another person. Because I ask people, what makes you think that you are better than me to rule over me?
Okay.
Rulership is not the domain of any human being. You can only rule over what you own. And nobody owns another human being legitimately.
Well, the slave masters used to.
That's why I use the word legitimately. You cannot rule over what you don't own. So rulership has nothing to do with leadership. And if you delve deep into the book, you realize that I connected our traditional system of governance, being the kingdoms, the monarch system, is part of the problems we're having today. It's part of the misconception.
Brings me to the question, is leadership Africa's problem, Margaret?
No.
No, to some extent, I would say no. The leaders of Africa, they have the knowledge, but you see, because we always have this mentality that if you're a leader, then you have the power, you have to control and all that. That's why you see that African leaders are diving into different ways of leadership. But of course, African leaders have all it takes to be good leaders, but they themselves are refusing to become good leaders. Because as we are saying, as a leader, you lead your people, you teach them the way, you don't rule over them, you don't take authority over them. So if African leaders are able to know, identify and accept their people and know that they are into service, you are giving the opportunity to serve. Because of course, all of us cannot be leaders. So definitely there's going to be someone leading us. So if someone is leading, that person should lead with all humility, as I said. So they have what it takes, but then pride and I think power, and I don't know what they are looking for.
Let's stay on
taking
Africa
them to
here.
that.
No, let's stay on Africa here.
Right.
You in your book, page 112, you say Africa was brainwashed to believe that a Caucasian is next to God, if not God himself.
Yes, it's part of the system that was set to make us think that leadership is about a ruler and the ruled.
You think we're still brainwashed?
Basically, yes.
After many years.
We've not gotten out of that stronghold. And let me backtrack with your question about, is leadership the problem of Africa? No, leadership is not the problem of Africa.
What is?
Our problem is the misunderstanding of leadership, because we don't understand leadership. If we do understand leadership, things are going to be way different. And I always tell people, there are two most powerful words in this world. If you understand these words, your life will be as smooth
You say
as...
if the Western world had not interrupted Africa's process, the most powerful kingdoms would have conquered at the least ones, which would have resulted in fewer kingdoms and fewer rulerships.
Right. Basically, you see, life is a process. Kingdoms have their place in the whole process of human development. You realize that the British, at a point in time, fought, conquered, and then at a point in time, they realized, no, we had to sit back and allow democracy to take its course.
Well, after gaining everything they had.
Right.
Basically.
So kingdoms have their place in the whole process. And one of the processes the Western world interrupted was our process of demarcating our borders, because that is how you can demarcate your borders. That is the reason why we have different countries and different dialects and languages all over Africa. Because if it had not been for the interruption of our process, the kingdoms will fight, and we probably would have like 5 countries in Africa. And so the bigger languages would absorb the little languages, and a common language will emerge. So we would have very few languages on the continent of Africa. So our process was interrupted by the Western world, and that is what has contributed to our problem even today. But let me sound this note here. I am not doing a blame game. I am just stating the problems as it is. My grandma would say, if somebody wants you to stand, he would not push you down in the first place. So don't look up to him to help you to stand up. So we are not supposed to be looking up to the Western world to stand up. We got to stand up by ourselves.
Let's look within there. You make mention of Theodore Obiang, you know, Jose Eduardo dos Santos, Yoweri Museveni, Paul Biya. These are basically gods in their countries. They've been there for many years. Part of the problem, you think?
Yes, because they have the misinformation about leadership. They think leadership is about rulership. So then I had to entrench myself in power and rule over the people, thinking that I'm being a leader, which is wrong. In that process, you become a thin god. Because anytime you are given a place to rule over another person, that pride sets in. So until we understand what leadership is, we're going to be running around in circles.
Wow, your seminars happening in Accra, Kumasi, and Koforidua. You have Anas Arameyao Anas as a speaker.
Yes.
Very interesting to me. He's your guy, Margaret. You know him?
Yes, I know Anas very well. He's my guy.
He's your guy?
Yes.
Like you know his face?
Just as everybody knows him, that is Anas for you. So we know Anas.
Does he cover up in meetings when he comes?
That is his nature, so that's Anas for you. That is his brand,
Let's talk
actually.
about the seminars real quick. Accra, Kumasi, Koforidua.
Yeah, on the 27th, that is next week, Saturday, we're having Settle Africa Conference under the theme, Breaking the Myth of Leadership. So we're going to start at 10 a.m. and close at 2 p.m. sharp at Commonwealth Hall, Legon, University of Ghana, Legon. And they're at Kumasi Gardner Hall, the same time, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. sharp. We are having it at KNUST, that is in Kumasi, Gardner Hall, close to the Great Hall. And then Koforidua, we're doing it at Koforidua Technical University. It's also 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. sharp. So
let's talk about some of the quality of guests we have on this leadership seminar.
Okay, we have Dr. Kojo Asante, and then we have Dr. Lloyd Amwa. We have the big man himself, Anas Arimia Anas.
Tiger
and then I have my able executive director of Sector International Leadership, Nana Osei Junior, who is based in Virginia, USA, also one of the speakers.
Okay, so our text lines are open 030 050 30,034 050 30,034. You can send us a text message or a WhatsApp and contribute to the program, and also have one of these books right here. It's an autograph copy from Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. I'm particularly interested in your book and some of the things you have said about leadership in Africa, mentioning these names who are gods. Theodore Obiang has been there for many years. In fact, his kid is enjoying the seat right now. Paul Biya I hear lives in Switzerland somewhere, comes to the country once in a while. Do you wish for an opportunity to dialogue with any of these presidents?
Oh yes, if I have the opportunity to dialogue with any of these people, I would, but not to dialogue to change their mindset. I always tell people the reason our focus, CERTO and AfriWIC, the focus of this organization is on the youth. Because with the older people, there's very little we can do about it. Because somebody has done the wrong thing for years, for let's say 50 years, and you want the person to change immediately. It's not going to happen. So we want to focus our attention on the youth to change their perception of leadership.
So you want to talk to Obiang's son instead of Obiang himself?
Probably.
No, yeah. He's wilder than his dad. he's enjoying life like there's no tomorrow.
It's rather unfortunate, but the misconception and the miseducation on leadership is really hurting Africa.
What is the ultimate thing you seek to achieve with your leadership seminars and your teachings, especially this conference?
To be able to have an impact on the youth, because if you look at the banner, it says Impact Africa Youth Leadership Summit 2018. As a matter of fact, what we're trying to do is to choose one African country every year. So this year, 2018, is going to be in Ghana, which she made mention of. 2019, we're looking at Nigeria. 2020, we're looking at South Africa, and as it goes on and on. All we're trying to do is to re-educate the African youth to understand that everything he or she has learned about leadership is not.
Might be wrong.
Yes. So we want to re-educate them, for them to understand that leadership is the gift for service and has nothing to do with your office, charisma, position, power, and all that stuff. Some of these attributes are fruits of leadership. For instance, influence of leadership is a fruit of it. It is not what makes you a leader, but it's your leadership gifts which gives you an influence.
And in fact, this conference is going out free of charge. We want everybody to participate. We are concentrating on the youth, whether you are in school, you are at home. We want everybody to come to the conference to get some knowledge and learn to do the right things from now on. We don't want to follow the normal thing that our leaders are doing. We want our youth to grow, to become better leaders than what we are seeing on the continent today.
Amazing. There can be no greater gift than giving one's time and energy to help others without expecting anything in return. That's from President Nelson Mandela. Yeah. So let's take a look at this program that's going to happen in Accra, Kumasi, and Koforidua. You have to attend. It's come to a city near you. Watch this.
International, in collaboration with Afro International Organization, present Impact Africa Youth Leadership Summit 2018 with a theme, Breaking the Myth of Leadership. This is happening in Accra, Kumasi, and Koforidua. In Accra at the University of Ghana Commonwealth Hall on October 27, 2018. In Kumasi at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Gardiner Hall on the 3rd day of November 2018. And in Koforidua at the Koforidua Technical University November 10, 2018. Each event starts at 10 a.m. sharp and ends at 2 p.m. p.m. Note these days down and don't forget to mark your calendars. Speakers: Anas Arimiao Anas, one of Africa's best undercover journalists and CEO of Tiger IPR. Dr. Lloyd Amwa, Director of the Center for Asian Studies, University of Ghana. Dr. Kojo Asante, Director for Advocacy and Policy Engagement, Ghana Center for Democratic Development. And Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of Settle Leadership and Afroweek International Organization. Admission and refreshments are free. Do not miss this if you want to be part of the next generation of successful African leaders. See you all.
Welcome back. You're live on GMG Plus. So the quote I read from Nelson Mandela, is this the reason this conference is free?
Basically,
giving your time and expecting nothing in return.
If you understand the concept of leadership, it is not about what you get, it's about the impact you make. There is this football coach, former football coach of Redskins. It's a football team
yeah.
in Washington, D.C. Yeah. Yep. He made all his money coaching the Redskins, but he set up an institution where he's admitting kids, let me use the word, truant kids, who are about a hairbreadth away from jail. And he's taking them, some of them have even been sentenced to jail, but he goes to plead with the government and takes them into his school to rehabilitate them into society so they can be productive members of society. And he was being interviewed and he said, with all his achievements, that is what fulfills him. And yet that does not give him money.
Amazing. I have a message for you here. Please, sir, from your point of view, say from the gentleman's point of view, if everyone is born a leader, then who's going to be the follower? Who's going to follow the leader? There's a whole lot of genetic makeup, both physically and spiritual, that comes together to form an individual. And the person goes on and on without a name. But if everybody's born a leader, who's going to follow?
It's a process. So that is why we even go to school. We don't even go to school to go learn a trade. We go to school to perfect the gift which is within us. That is why our educational system is not really helping us. So if we are born leaders, but then I had to go to school. Out of school, I have to follow to a certain point. Whilst I'm working, whilst I'm working on my leadership gift, developing and cultivating my gift.
What are the qualities of a bad leader? A Reverend Nyamasekpo wants to understand. What are the qualities of a bad leader, quickly?
One of it is lack of integrity. And if you lack integrity, you're bound to be corrupt.
Okay. Good morning, sir. My name is Francis from Obuasi Eyinam. How much can I get a copy of this book? Well, Francis, thanks for texting me. I'll give you one of this for free. But how much is this book going for?
Unfortunately, it's not being sold here. It's on Amazon.com, and I believe it's $10.99 or something like that.
$10.99.
Yes, but I'm going to be talking to some publishers here and get them published here so they can be on the market.
Thank you. But to you, Francis, if you're watching, I'll give you one for free, definitely. So thank you, Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. and Margaret Ahoshi. Hope I got it right?
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you for coming. But by the way, that looks like a championship ring. Are you?
No.
An American footballer?
It's an eagle, and that's my animal.
Thank you so much for coming to GMG+.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, so after the break, let's talk some business and also click coming up. This is GMG+ on Metro TV.
Settle Leadership International, in collaboration with Afro International Organization, present Impact Africa Youth Leadership Summit 2018 with a team breaking the myth of leadership. This is happening in Accra, Kumasi, and Koforidua. In Accra at the University of Ghana Commonwealth Hall on October 27, 2018. In Kumasi at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Gardiner Hall on the 3rd day of November 2018. And in Koforidua at the Koforidua Technical University November 10, 2018. Each event starts at 10 a.m. sharp and enter 2 p.m. Note these days down and don't forget to mark your calendars. Speakers: Anas Arimiao Anas, one of Africa's best undercover journalists and CEO of Tiger IPR. Dr. Lloyd Amwa, Director of the Center for Asian Studies, University of Ghana. Dr. Kojo Asante, Director for Advocacy and Policy Engagement, Ghana Center for Democratic Development. And Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of Settle Leadership and Afroweek International Organization. Admission and refreshments are free. Do not miss this if you want to be part of the next generation of successful African leaders. See you all.